Dustin Johnson loses a sponsor after announcing his decision to play in the Saudi-backed golf tournament, which is taking place in London. This is the kickoff event. They're teeing off this tour, and the first event is next week in London. And it's the same week as the RBC Canadian Open, which is one of the major sponsors for Dustin Johnson on tour. RBC released a statement. They're no longer sponsoring Dustin Johnson. I would say in part because it's the Saudi-backed league. It's in part because it's going head-to-head with their Canadian Open next week. But he loses a sponsor over this because it was announced today that he will, in fact, be playing in this golf tournament that will be on tour and actually tees off next week for the first time.
Well, the PGA made it pretty clear, us or them. So now we see the PGA does what it said. I think it's pretty much that simple. And it's not just Dustin Johnson.
They've
it's
said,
2 other guys.
It's more than that. I mean, I've got the list right here. Ian Poulter, Charles Schwartzel, Lee Westwood, Louis Oosthuizen, Kevin Na, Taylor Gooch. These are all guys who are going to be participating in this tournament. So are they all going to be blackballed for eternity from the PGA Tour? I mean, this is really putting PGA in a difficult spot. And the reaction to Mickelson's comments as opposed to the reaction to Dustin Johnson actually participating in this tour, in this event, has been very, very different. Dustin Johnson makes $11 million a year in endorsements. And I think 3.2 of that is RBC that he's now losing. He's going to lose more sponsors over this. That's not going to be it. He's going to lose more.
But Chad, if you're willing to lose those sponsors, think about what he must be earning.
Yes.
Yeah, that tells you what he's getting paid to make the decision.
And what's the public outcry?
And by the way, all of those tour members had to request permission from the PGA. They were all denied, and they're doing it anyway.
So we know financially they're making out just fine. Now, what's the court of public opinion have to say? Because the court of public opinion was pretty damn loud. Now, Phil said dumb stuff, certainly.
Yeah,
that didn't help him.
Accompanied all that.
But the context is the same. The context is exactly the same. And, so I, for one, will say, it does not look good to go take this money.
I have to feel, though, guys, that Dustin Johnson feels like he's not going to be blackballed from the tour to do this, even if it is an enormous payday, and I'm sure that it is, to go do this tour. There is a lot of risk involved.
But he's got to answer
with this because the Saudis may decide 3 months in it's not worth their time doing this. They may get into this and have 2 or 3 events and say, all right, we paid out all this money. We're good for it. We gave away all this prize money. We don't want to keep doing it. PGA Tour has been around for a long time. So you went and did something in the short term to make a bunch of money in the short term that could go away, like a lot of new ventures will go away. And do you risk that where you can't come back to the PGA Tour? I mean, there's risk involved. And look, it's with Dustin Johnson, this is a guy who likes to play golf and make money. He is going to play golf to make a lot of money. I don't think he's thinking about this anything deeper than that. That's all it is.
He's going to have to answer for it deeper than that because the questions are going to be hard.
I don't think he's going to be able to answer to it any deeper than that, honestly.
I would say, why does he have to answer to it if the NBA is sending a preseason game over there, or if the UFC is going over there, or if WWE is going over? What difference does it make if Dustin Johnson's playing in a tour that's backed by the Saudis?
Well, I think those entities do face those questions.
But they don't answer them.
They don't answer them, but we
Phil
are made uncomfortable.
Mickelson faces those questions. ESPN's not asking those questions to the NBA.
Yeah, but it is different when it's an individual who I could go up to and ask as opposed to Adam Silver speaking on behalf of the league and hiding.
He doesn't have
to
probably
air the games.
Yeah, he doesn't have to get into that. He could just say, I'm not looking at any of that. This looked like a fun tournament to play in. I said yes to it, and that's why I'm here. I mean, I don't. Well, to your point, Paul, I don't think he has to do anything or has to answer.
I understand that.
But the PGA has drawn a firm line in the sand. And are they going to actually going to follow through and ban people for life from their tour? Are they really going to say no to Dustin Johnson, who brings a lot of eyeballs, who's won a ton of tournaments in their tour if he goes and plays in this one tournament?
I do think, too, Hut, your point's a good one, but I do think it's harder for an individual than it is for a league.
Of course, but the individual, we're specifically zeroed in on Dustin Johnson. He needs to answer for it no more than anybody that's signed up here. And, Mickelson in the book, Phil, that we profiled last week, there is a part in there where Mickelson came out and said what he said to the author, Shipnook. In part, according to Shipnook, he felt as though Phil thought there would be others with the same sentiment that would join him. And one of the guys mentioned is Dustin Johnson. And then, if you notice, as soon as those quotes came out, those guys took a step back and said nothing, and endorsed nothing that Phil was a part of. In fact, no one did. And so he was left out on that island. And now Dustin Johnson's confirming he felt that way, that he was going to go the same direction as Mickelson by actually signing up and having his name on this list amongst other tour members who are doing the same thing.